Welcome. Good afternoon. Namaste, everybody. I bow in reverence and with gratitude to those of you joining me in the room, to those of you joining me on Zoom, and to those of you listening to the recording afterward. Welcome to Living from the Heart, a Dharma talk about this extraordinary journey of 18 inches from the head to the heart. And our topic for today is on this mind-blowing breath. And our poem for today is called May You Know You Are a Miracle. Out of 8 billion people, there is you. Out of everyone who has ever lived and everyone yet to be born, there is and will only ever be one incredible, beautiful, unique you. You have a precious human life. You have ears that can listen to these words and hear the truth whispered in the leaves. A voice that can express your heart and sing to the earth. A body that dances, moves with the wind, and can cup the morning stream to bring calm, cool water to your lips. You have the perfect conditions to be alive and be here. There is air all around you, free air. Drink in this holy moment. Breathe in the world around you and hold it in your heart. Let acceptance vibrate through every cell. Listen. Your heart, the one blossoming before you, points the way. The way to the one incredible, beautiful, unique you. Make the infinite your home. A wisdom teaching that you will find again and again across religions, across spiritual traditions, in the ancient text and the modern teachers, is this very basic idea that it's all right here. Everything you seek is already right here, right underneath your nose. There are many stories of beggars on the street begging for money until a great traveler comes to them and tells them to open the box that they have been sitting on this entire time. And within the box, they find an extraordinary fortune. There's another story of a businessman and a thief on a train. And as the story goes, a businessman and a thief are sharing the cabin of a train for a long 2-night trip across India. During the first day, the businessman took out his money and counted it. The thief saw this happen and made a plan. That night, when the businessman was sleeping, the thief went to his bed and looked all over for the money. He checked the businessman's suitcase and pockets, but couldn't find anything. When the businessman rolled over and made a noise, he got scared and went back to his own bed. The next day, again, the businessman took out a roll of money and counted it. The thief saw it, and again that night looked all over for it, but couldn't find the money. Finally, the next day, as the train was about to reach its destination, the thief couldn't handle his frustrations. He confessed to the businessman that he was a thief, and he saw the businessman counting his money every day, but still the thief couldn't find it at night. "Where did you hide it?" the thief asked. "That's easy," the businessman replied. "I just put it under your pillow." Again, we have this idea that whatever you are looking for is right underneath your nose. Everything is right here. The miracles of life are here. The wonders of life are here. And you already have everything you need. You already have eyes in good condition that can see the sunset over the ocean, that can see the colors of the flowers blooming. You already have ears in good condition that can hear the birds sing and hear the rippling of the babbling brook. You have a tongue in good condition that can taste all the beautiful food that is offered to you and is available to us all. You have all the conditions for happiness already right here, right now. There's another story of a despondent nun who goes to her teacher and says, I haven't found God anywhere. I went into the texts and couldn't find God. I went up to the chapel and couldn't find God. I rang the bell in the tower and couldn't find God. I looked deep into the stained glass windows and I could not find God. And their teacher replied, Ah, yes, you have looked left, right, and up, but you have forgotten to look down. Down, right underneath our nose. There is a box of treasures. There are miracles of life. There is exactly what we seek. Kabir wrote this. Are you looking for me? I am in the next seat. My shoulder is against yours. You will not find me in the stupas, not in Indian shrine rooms, nor in synagogues, nor in cathedrals, not in masses, nor kirtans, not in legs winding around your own neck. That's for the yogis. You will not find me in legs winding around your own neck, nor in eating nothing but vegetables. When you really look for me, you will see me instantly. You will find me in the tiniest house of time. Kabir says, Student, tell me, what is God? He is the breath inside the breath. Such a powerful line. What is God? He is the breath inside the breath. It reminds me of the phrase by St. Augustine that God is nearer to the soul than the soul itself. And I know I've told this story before, but it's a good story. A gentleman goes to the border of India and Pakistan every week, and every week he takes donkeys with him, and they have bales of hay on their backs. And the Border Patrol guard knows that this man is up to something. So every time he reaches the Border Control guard demands to search all of the donkeys, all of their saddles, all of their pockets, and even asks the gentleman to tear apart the hay to make sure he isn't smuggling anything within the bales of hay. And week after week and week after week, they go through this ritual. And the Border Patrol agent never finds anything. This happens for 20 years. And after the 20 years, the Border Patrol agent is finally going to retire. So he says, okay, I have to know, what is it that you have been smuggling? I know that you are up to something. What are you hiding? And the gentleman simply replies, donkeys, implying he was smuggling donkeys, implying that what was right in front of this Border Patrol's face was what he was looking for. It's right in front of us. It's so incredible that what is most obvious is often what is most missed. So people think that our spiritual life and our spiritual journey and practice can be so complicated, but it's actually as simple as the breath. What is right underneath of your nose? The in breath and the out breath. It's right here, this breath, the most powerful an extraordinary tool in the spiritual toolbox, in the human experience. And I'd like to talk about this breath, the power of the breath, why we focus so much on the breath, different ways to think about the breath, different ways to think about what is happening every single moment that we are alive, right underneath of our nose. This in breath, this out breath. Why do we focus so much on the breath? In earlier talks, I've mentioned how there are a few very simple reasons why we use the breath so much in our meditation and yoga practice. A major one is that it is relaxing. Just slowing down the breath is going to naturally slow down the stress response and the physiology of the human body. By intentionally slowing down and deepening the breath, our blood pressure will decrease, our heart rate will decrease, and the level of cortisol or stress hormone in the body will also decrease. And for many of us, this is what we need the most. Many of us are highly activated in our stress response system all of the time. When I asked a client of mine on a scale of 1 to 10 to grade himself on how stressed his life is, he said 100. And I think many of us can resonate with this idea that life can be stressful. So just learning to slow down, learning to take a few deep breaths can be extraordinarily transformative. But another reason we listen to the breath is it does bring us into this present moment. You aren't breathing tomorrow. You aren't breathing yesterday. You are breathing right now. It is your body that is alive in the present moment. It is your body that is always in the present moment. So by coming into your body via the breath, we immediately become present to what is happening in the here and the now. You probably know the five senses: touching, tasting, hearing, smelling, and hearing. But we actually have more senses available to us than the five that we were taught about in school. And when it comes to the breath, we learn two very important ways that we perceive the world. One is our proprioception, the awareness of our body in space. This is our actual lived embodied experience. Just as you can close your eyes and take your arm up and take your arm down, you know exactly where your arm is. That's because your proprioceptors are sending signals back to your central nervous system about where your body is. So we are here to get in touch with our bodies via the breath. And the breath also taps us into our interoception, the awareness of and perception of physiological states within the body. So what is the breath? It is a bridge between the mind and the body. We are building that bridge between mind and body. We are yoking together, yujing, experience yukta or yoga between the mind and the body anytime we bring the attention of the mind to the breath as the body breathes. So it's a present moment practice. It's an embodiment practice. And as you stay with the breath for longer and longer periods of time, it immediately becomes apparent that the breath is a gateway to stillness, because the breath is both voluntary and involuntary. There are parts of our physiology that are involuntary. You're not consciously beating your heart right now. You're not consciously digesting your food through your stomach. But you are voluntarily speaking, listening, moving your body. And the breath is in that wonderful in-between point, that center point of the Venn diagram between voluntary and involuntary action. So by first starting voluntarily, being with the breath and slowing down the breath, we slowly journey to anchoring the mind to the breath as it slowly transitions to being involuntary. And this is our gateway to stillness. This is our disillusion of the subject-object duality, the belief that there is a doer and there are things getting done. And every time we take a breath, we can also tune in to our connection to all things. This breath is a gateway to life and all of life around us. Even in Buddhism, there are the seven gates, the eyes, the ears, the mouth. You can guess the other ones. And the mouth is a wonderful gateway between our internal and external world. And physicists and statisticians would agree that every time you take a breath, you're breathing in a molecule of air that was breathed out by the Buddha, by Jesus, by Caesar, by Dr. Martin Luther King. The breath teaches us about our shared interdependence with all of life. Richard Nelson put it this way: I breathe in the soft, saturated exhalation of cedar trees and salmonberry bushes, fireweed and wood fern, marsh hawks and meadow voles, marten and harbor seal and black-tailed deer. I breathe in the same particles of air that made songs in the throats of hermit thrushes and gave voices to humpback whales. The same particles of air that lifted the wings of bald eagles and buzzed in the flight of hummingbirds. The same particles of air that rushed over the sea in storms, whirled in high mountain snows, whistled across the poles, and whispered through lush equatorial gardens. Air that has passed continually through life on Earth. I breathe it in, pass it on, share it in equal measure with billions of other things, endlessly and infinitely. So, in this way, the breath is a symbol. The breath is almost like a dewdrop, reflecting the whole world. We can find everything in the breath itself. The breath teaches us about life. The breath is a microcosm that is a reflection of the entire macrocosm. So much symbolism can be found with this breath. For example, the breath teaches us of the duality of life. When we inhale, we experience the fullness, the wholeness, the oneness, and the unity of it all. And when we exhale, we experience the emptiness, the nothingness, the shunyata, the anicca, the impermanence of all things. When we breathe in, we can think about what we want to take in, what serves us in this life. And when we breathe out, we can think about what we want to let go of and what doesn't serve us anymore. The inhale is life, and the exhale is death. We find this all over. In the book of Job, it says, "The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life." And there's some double symbolism here, because when God made Adam, God breathed the first breath of life into Adam. So the inhale is literally the breath of the divine. So when Job says, "The Spirit of God has made me, the breath of the Almighty gives me life," that's essentially the same meaning in two different sentences. The Spirit of God makes us, the breath of the Almighty gives us life. The in breath is life, and the exhale is death. Mark Nippo, the poet, wrote this: "As a man in his last breath drops all that he is carrying, each breath is a little death that can set us free." I'll say that again. As a man in his last breath drops all he is carrying, each breath is a little death that can set us free. In our yoga practice, we always end with a shavasana. We always end by facing the reality of death, recognizing that every death is a chance to be reborn. Throughout many times in our life, parts of ourselves need to die and decay for new parts of ourselves to be born and to experience rebirth. There's a quote by Esther Perel I love, that many of us will have multiple relationships in our life, multiple meaningful, deeply intimate relationships. Many of those will be with the same person, meaning that as you continue in a long-term relationship with somebody, you will find your relationship will be very different as time goes on. And certain patterns and habits that worked in your relationship to keep it close and together at a certain time in your life will not work at a different phase of your life. So certain aspects of your relationship must die away so that a new way of relating can be reborn with the same person. So in this exhale, this letting go breath, this dying breath, this teaches us that we can't hold on to anything, that nothing lasts, and that everything is moving all the time. So Thich Nhat Hanh put it this way: you have to breathe very deeply in order to acknowledge the fact that we humans may disappear from this earth in just 100 years. You have to learn how to accept that hard fact without being overwhelmed by despair. That is why we have to learn to touch eternity in the present moment with our in-breath and our out-breath. So the breath teaches us that there's nothing we can hold on to. The breath teaches us that our attempts to hold on to that which is impermanent, to that which is always flowing, will simply cause us suffering. You can't hold on to the breath. You must let go. You can't hold on to life. You must let go. If you try to hold on, you will get rope burn. You will suffer. This is a fundamental lesson of the breath, teaching us to let go of the old, to welcome in the new. And I find that people often get this idea of the power of now and the be here now slogan of Ram Dass. They get it all wrong. People often think we just come to the present moment and we're done. We just let go of the past, let go of the future, come into the present moment, and we're good. I find people really love the idea of the witness, the idea of becoming the observer, that all you have to do is take on a certain role and you will find an inner peace from this stance. We think that we can step out of the river of time, sit on the banks, and simply watch life flowing by. But this is based on an illusion of separation, that we are somehow separate from this flow of life. So in being present, it's not be here now, it's go with the now, it's flow with the now, it's be the changing now. You cannot plant a flag in the land of the now and expect it to stay there. You cannot simply take the stance of the observer and just let everything flow by. You must hop into the river, face the direction that it is going, lean back, and let the river take you. Lama Surya Das puts it this way: we exhale and we let go of the old moment. In so doing, we let go of the person we used to be. We inhale and we breathe in the moment that is becoming. We welcome the person that we are becoming. And Vesantara put it this way: you cannot fully hold on to anything, just as you cannot inhale and hold your breath indefinitely. The breath teaches you about the process of life, of gathering in and giving out. of giving up the old in order to make space for the new. Just as the stale air is expelled to allow a tide of fresh air and energy to flow in. So we think we can separate the experiencer from the experience rather than recognizing we are experience itself. We are life itself. This is the lesson, the sweetness of realizing I am not other than what I am experiencing. I am this breathing. I am this moment, and it is changing, continually arising in the fountain of life. Hmm. So the breath teaches us about transformation, about life and death, about what it truly means to be reborn, which we are doing in each and every moment. The person that finishes this talk will not be the same person that began it. The person that got on the train will not be the same person that stepped off of it. In becoming present, we understand that what is right beneath our nose is reality as it is, which is continually changing all the time. If you think things are staying the same, you are caught up in illusion. And if you think there is even a continuity of past, present, and future, that is illusion too. The common imagery given in the Vedas is imagine yourself walking along in a forest and you see a circle of light. So you walk closer and closer to the circle. And as you get closer and closer to this circle of light, you see that it is simply a person twirling an incense stick. And if you've ever lit incense, you know that the end of a stick will have a glowing red ember. And if you spin that incense stick in a circle, it will create the illusion of continuity, the illusion of the circle. And this is what it truly means to be present, to realize the seeming continuity of a present moment, venturing into the future and leaving behind a past is an illusion created by the mind that is envisioning a future and having impressions in the mind that is creating the illusion of a past through memory. But in our process of becoming present, we're slowing down the incense stick to realize it is just one single point of light. And that's what this present moment is. It is one moment, the only moment that will ever exist. And it is this moment where everything is transformed. So, an extremely powerful practice is the meditation practice known as Tonglen, which literally means giving and taking. It is a practice of taking in other people's suffering and giving out nothing but light. It is said that the creator of Tonglen came up with the idea when he found an open book that said, take all the pain of the world for yourself and give away all the pleasure, which is quite the opposite to what we are often taught in our Western materialistic, follow your path of highest excitement, spiritual path. The practice of Tonglen teaches us that we have a pure heart of unconditional love that can touch the suffering of this world and transform it into nothing but light. This is the practice of Tonglen. This is the practice of the breath, of breathing in suffering and breathing out nothing but love and light. So in the practice, you breathe in a black cloud of smoke and you breathe out light air. So this is so powerful. And ask any scientist, and you probably know even the physiology of the breath. We inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. So even the chemical composition of the in breath and the out breath are quite different. That carbon dioxide gets taken up by the trees, which then give us the oxygen. So we are always in this exchange with the world around us. And part of our path of spiritual practice and contemplation is learning to embody that love and light that is able to transform the suffering of the world through the immortal burning and turning diamond of the heart to give nothing but light and compassion. So you breathe in the black smoke of suffering of others, and you breathe out the light and love of your own heart. So it's right here, my friends, right beneath your nose. You don't even have to look underneath your seat for a treasure box. Just look underneath your nose and you will find everything it is that you seek. You will find a breath that teaches you everything you need to know about life, and you will find your heart also beneath your nose. It's all right here. So the breath has incredibly rich symbolism, and you will find in almost every religious and spiritual traditions its own interpretation of the breath. And we can see this in the etymology of many words. The inhalation is the inspiration. The exhalation is the expiration. So when we inhale, we become filled with spirit. We become inspired. So even the word Holy Spirit also comes from the same words as breath. Even inspiration, to be filled with breath, comes from the same word as spirit. The breath is spirit. Spirit is the breath. Now, when it comes to the yogic path, what does the breath symbolize? Energy. Our breath takes in the energy of prana. It is a conduit to all the energy that is all around us. The breath is also the element of air. Of course, we are taking in and exchanging air with the world around us. And air, too, carries the medium of sound. So in the yogic path, you will find this interplay of pranayama practices designed to manipulate the breath in order to control and manipulate prana to feel greater energy and lightness and joy in our lives. We also see it directly connected to the element of air, which is the medium of sound. So we have nada yoga, the yoga of sound. We have bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotional singing is also part of learning about the breath. Singing is about the breath, and so is speaking. I know it might seem a bit obvious, but again, what is most obvious is most missed, and often what is most essential. Anytime we speak or say anything, what creates sound in the body? It is the vibration of the vocal cords, which we vibrate by taking a deep inhale into the nostrils or the mouth, doesn't matter. But it is the exhale breath that vibrates and sends energy outward in all directions. So it is the breath that literally creates the energy and creates the sound. And this is the path of mantra yoga. Yes, using phrases, using words, chanting together, singing together in harmony, reciting the sacred text orally so that they radiate out in all directions. So I'll have to save much of the talk of mantra yoga For our next lesson, we can simply begin by recognizing that there is so much richness to be found right here, right now, in this breath, in this heart, in this body. If you pay attention to any minute aspect of your experience, it will teach you more than any external source of information. So notice when you do inhale, the lungs fill up. And when you speak through your mouth, your lips, your tongue, your vocal cords, and the air all work together to create sound. And when you take that sound and you put it in formation, if you organize the vibrational energy of the vocal cords in a particular way, it becomes information. We can communicate messages to people at a distance. I know it's so obvious, but what miracle is that? You literally vibrate your own throat. You take in the energy of the world to vibrate your own throat, to emanate energy out in all directions. And the people that hear you have this magical little bone in their ear that vibrates with the air and is able to pick up on that vibrational energy, which is information, and it becomes information that you can communicate. So we know from the path of karma yoga that our actions matter. Well, your words matter. The energy that you give off matters. It radiates out in all directions. This is the path of mantra yoga, becoming connoisseurs of our mouth and how it creates vibration, how it creates sound, letters, vowels, and more, and how we can use that. So when we started our meditation practice today, I offered you a number of mantras, and we can use the mantra with the breath. So many short mantras we can use. Breathing in, finding peace. Breathing out, finding calm. Breathe in what is serving you. Breathe out what is not serving you. And as we shift to a different mode of being, to a different way of being in our spiritual practice, a wonderful way to encourage that shift from our day-to-day ruminative thinking is quite literally to switch languages. So yoga is all about shifting our darshan, shifting our way of being, shifting our general mode of consciousness and changing the channel. And a wonderful way to kind of snap out our endless ruminative thinking and conditional patterns is just to switch languages. And you will not find a more perfect, intricate, highly elaborate, polished language than you will find with Sanskrit, with Sanskritam. We'll save much of our talk of Sanskrit for our next lesson. I'll simply finish by pointing out that learning Sanskrit is an incredibly rich experience. It's something I find myself returning to every single day. And every single day, as I go deeper into this ancient language and into the ancient texts that are written in this language, so many connections get drawn, and there are so many light bulb moments. Once you learn deeper what the true meaning of sat is and what it means to be a bodhisattva and what sat chit ananda means and what the sattva guna with tamas, rajas, and sattva truly means. Once you learn what tat truly means and someone says tat tvam asi, once you chant the mantra, Om Gatte Gatte Parasam Gatte 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 Bodhisvaha again and again 108 times with your mala beads, you go deeper and deeper and spiral deeper and deeper into the knowledge and the true essence of this vibration, of these ancient, sacred, special, and divine mantras. And you chant Om Gatte 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 Gatte, and then someone tells you that another name for the Buddha is Tathagata. tatha, tat, gata, gate. It's all connected. Tathagata, tatvam asi, om tat sat. Try that one on next time you're meditating. Each out breath. Om tat sat. Om tat sat. So the breath teaches us about vibration, teaches us about energy, teaches us about our exchange with the world around us. And it can also be an incredible gateway to new paths of yoga beyond the simply modern postural yoga that many people spend their days doing. We can practice the bhakti yoga. We can practice the karma yoga, recognizing we can, as we practice mindful sitting, mindful breathing, and mindful movement on our yoga mats, we must also practice mindful speech to carry nothing but loving intention with our words. Many people know the big don'ts, like don't lie, don't kill, don't steal. You will also find don't gossip. Don't speak ill of others when they aren't around you, because this is the path of karma, karma yoga. Your actions matter, even if the person you're speaking about doesn't hear you and isn't there in that moment. You yourself are cultivating this mental state that speaks ill of others. So we'll go deeper into this ancient special in Sanskrit language next week. But since we're talking about it, we should probably close with a mantra. And we can go deeper into the meaning of this mantra next week. Of course, in order to take a deep breath, we do have to sit up straight. We do have to relax the shoulders, expand the heart space, and soften the muscles around the belly so that the belly can really expand. And we'll open up with an om. So inhale. Om. Asatoma Satangamaya. Tamasoma Joytir Gamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we find peace in ourselves, peace in others, and peace in this world. Namaste.